Open it up. And so we can do it. This is the Assassin Dex. I'm glad you put the build in here, because if you didn't, man. This is Maetrim, Rogue, Azamar Rogue, and Epic. Very exciting. Plus 8 tomes, very exciting. 16 Wisdom, 15 Int, 14 Con. I'm curious why 15 Int? I think it's because it comes out to an even number here, which is most like. But yeah, some notes. Wisdom-based. So my first version was wisdom-based for attack and damage, but the assassinate ability really suffered, but it did have Mass Frog. It would be nice if I got that to work, but trying to max so many stats seems problematic, so I switched to Dex-based. It needs to be self-sufficient while doing high DPS. It needs to be able to spot heal using healing hands. And if I need you to cumbersome and it doesn't heal enough, that's why Azamar with healing hands. I don't like having to toggle options on too often, such as Sneak of Shadows, as I would rather have always on effects in your build. Would like to boost Assassinate if possible without dropping the defensive qualities. Not 100% sure about the Rogue special feat selected. 3-piece Wild Fortitude for extra con, but could this be Dex instead? What's a reasonable Assassinate DC? Watchful is nice to have, but can we switch for similar viable 2-weapon defense? Or my epic stance choices optimum. Okay, perfect. Great option. Great ideas. Let's check out the feats. Start. I'm assuming your skills are right. It's a rogue, so like put your skills in properly. Don't really have a lot of good notes on that one. Fallen Bond, improved feint is fantastic. 2-weapon fighting is great. Improved evasion. So improved evasion, if your reflex save is 117, you don't, and it's no fail, improved evasion doesn't affect this. It'll help you during the leveling process till you get here, but even still, since you're a dexterity-based rogue, you shouldn't really be failing anything unless you specifically roll a 1. You do take Opportunist, you do take Defensive Roll, and you do take Crippling Strike. All of those things are good. So outside of that, then you have Slippery Mind. Slippery Mind is nice because you have a good amount of wisdom and your will saves are high, and so 86 is not a guaranteed success, and Slippery Mind can help you out a lot. Usually people don't do Slippery Mind on Rogue because you don't have a lot of will saves, but again, because wisdom is a secondary stat for your character, you've got 64 right now. It's actually pretty good, and I would recommend this over top of improved evasion. So if I was to do this differently, I would Opportunist, and then I would Slippery Mind, and then Defensive Roll, and then Crippling Strike. Defensive Roll is very rarely going to do anything. Just because you have to be under 20%. If you're under 20% health, you're probably going to die. But if you're playing on something that's like Elite difficulty, especially with your character with the 212 physical resistance rating, under 600 hit points, that's still like Elite and low Reapers. That's going to save you 1 or 2 hits, which is convenient. R10's totally useless, but in all of those scenarios, and there's a lot of scenarios, especially like, you know, some raid scenarios, things like that, and archers shooting at you, whatever. So yeah. And the favorite soul DPS build, so many good builds in that hardcore video. Yeah, I'm glad you like them. Hepcat Kip. Hepcat Kip? Oh, it's so hard to say. But I am, I tried to make the builds as cool as possible. Whoops. Oh God. I'm just gonna reload the save. I'm gonna reload it. No. Oh, whoops. That was a misclick. That was entirely my fault. Yeah, it's only good if you can get the improved defensive roll, for the most part. Anyway, let's try this again. Opportunist. And, Slippery Mind. Perfect. As we move up, improved epic sneak attack is great because you want more sneak attack damage, especially as an assassin. Perfect 2-weapon is good. So elusive target. Apparently elusive target doesn't work. So you're going to definitely want to go with just toughness here. So just take that to toughness. I can't get rid of the alternate. Can you get rid of alternates? I don't know if that's possible. Watchful Eye is convenient when you have the spot to support it. And your spot is 109. Oh, so there you go. It changes some stuff. Only if you change the main feat. Oh, so if I set this to no selection, and I can set this to toughness. Ha. Would you just take toughness here? Or is there really nothing else you would want to take instead of that? Depends on what weapons you're doing, obviously. Because piercing stuff is really convenient. But we'll check that out afterwards. As far as between Watchful Eye and 2-weapon defense, 2-weapon defense is nice because it increases your magical resistance rating by 10. Especially considering you have a lot of the magical resistance rating in here. So it's definitely a good option. But what magical effects are you actually taking? It's mostly like passive effects. So like anything like a 2 to handle Inferno, that sort of thing. So it's hard to say. If you don't mind having to actually search for stuff, then it is definitely better to go for 2-weapon defense as opposed to Watchful Eye. Especially considering there's nothing else you would really want to trade here, because every other feat is something you absolutely need. And then Epic Reflexes is just great. And I think for this character, Scion of the Ethereal Plane is probably going to do more work for you for the extra sneak attack, or the extra sneak attacks, because right now that brings you up to, it would bring you up to 30 or 40 D6s, which is a lot of extra sneak attack damage. Attempt Mass Frog? You wouldn't be able to Mass Frog with this build, not as a pure rogue. As a pure rogue, you're not going to do it. So I would probably shove in Ethereal Plane entirely. Just go whole in. You lose a little bit of that melee power, but you gain some of it back. And especially with this character build, the more sneak attack, the better. Because 40 D6s is a lot. It's a lot of extra damage. Getting minor audio desync? Is that happening? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. My audio desyncing? No, it looks good on my end. Yep. How does Vistani Monk stances work together? As long as you take this ability, Deadly Blades, you can use Vistani and Monk at the same time. Unless you don't take the Deadly Blades, then you can't. Fallen for bonus to reflex saving throws? Yeah, I don't love that. I mean, I know why you've got that, but I don't love that. So you grab, look at the trees here, and organize it like this because I like to see that. All right, so you've got everything good here. You take Shiv, because Shiv is good. You take the Heartseeker Poison, because Heartseeker is good. You grab Stealthy, you grab these points. You take 2 points into Action Boost power, when melee power is very powerful for this character. You also don't take Action Boost Haste, and Action Boost Haste is really good. This is like the highest DPS thing you can get. Now, if Epic Destinies, you have Action Boost Haste, which you do not, I highly recommend we shove Action Boost Haste into this build. It's really good. I highly recommend it. Because Action Boost Haste is going to be your strongest action boost by like a mile. This is going to increase your damage by a tremendous amount, so you want to make sure you have this. I don't like Killer, because the problem with this is that this doesn't stack with this. Rapid Attack is a morale bonus, 20%, and Killer is a morale bonus, so it actually doesn't stack with Rapid Attack. So you don't need Killer as a Vistani Knife Fighter, which is kind of interesting. So I'm going to do a quick reset of this tree, make a quick adjust. The extra sneak movement speed is great. You want this action boost. You want this and this and this and this. Your dexterity, not intelligence. Pay attention, Strimtom. Execute is God tier, and it's so good. And then you can still max out critical mastery if you want, but Assassinate, Measure the Foe is good. Deadly Strikes, Knife Specialization, Light Armor Mastery, this and this. That's 43 points. Where did I cut points from? I cut 3 points here. I don't know what I didn't take instead, but all this other stuff is bad. You don't need the other poisons. You don't need the Toxic Affinity. You don't need Bleed Them Out because this is bad. You don't need Shadow Dagger because this is bad. And then you don't need Venom Blades, which is not great. Oh, it took an extra dex? Aha. 99. And then you don't need Killer because, again, it doesn't stack. Weakening Strikes, God tier. Deadly Strikes, God tier. This all this stuff is really, really good. Yeah. And then for Vistani Knife Fighting, again, we want to make sure we take the haste boost in here. Also, and then Azamar, there's Fallen. I don't love the extra reflex saving throws just because I feel like you can get more offense out of here, specifically grabbing the Fight the Wicked, because this is +2 to hit and damage against evil creatures, which you're almost always fighting. You aren't always fighting evil creatures. A great example is the raid, the Dryad and the Demigod, where there's no evil creatures, which is so annoying as somebody who wants to purge evil. Also, you get Quick Draw for free out of the Vistani Knife Fighter tree, so you also just don't need that in general. So that saves you a point there. Let's do a quick swap-arino. Grab this, Vistani Attack, sure, Miststalker, Knife Juggler, Attack Boost, grab this. You want +1W, Dexterity is good, you want damage, because that's good. 18 points, so grab this, Celerity, double daggers, because you're dual wielding, or Dexterity, because that's good. And now you have a haste boost in here, which is nice. So I definitely like that. And then you have the Assassinate out of Falconry. You're missing 1 point of dexterity. I'm trying to think if there's any way you can get 1 point of dexterity. This is really good. You don't want to skip on this. This is good. You don't want to skip on this. +1 to hit and +2 to damage. Alternatively, though, really weird thought, because this is +1 to hit and +2 to damage. If you did want to, you could skip out on this, which would then give you 1 additional point of... sorry, I'm like expelling stuff. You could skip out on this, +1 to hit and +2 to damage, for 1 dexterity, which brings you up to a flat 100, which is +1 to hit and +1 to damage, and also bonus to your reflex saves, bonus to armor class, and increases the DCs of your assassinate, which has more impact, I think, than the +1 to hit, +2 to damage. Because it's just, you lose 1 point of damage, but you gain a bunch of other stuff, which I think is probably better overall for this character build. But this is a very tight spread, but I really like the points in Azamar for the most part. I think the Fallen Bond is fantastic for the extra 10 melee power. I love the healing amp, because your character is not going to have a lot of healing as well, so that's good. So, it gives you a lot more defensive options, especially for the self-healing, and being able to spot heal other people. Also, I love 142 hide. That's so funny. It's too bad that stuff doesn't scale off hide anymore. That'd be sick if it could. So as far as your tree goes, you take Piercing Clarity for fortification, and then also Incorporeal Bypass, and then you don't take Shadow Form. Is there a reason why you don't take Shadow Form? Because I really like the defensive properties of Shadow Form, basically letting you tank all sorts of stuff. You take double damage from light effects, but the amount of light effects that you actually experience is, like, very small. Oh, it doesn't? Oh, yeah, because it's a major form. Ooh, I didn't... I have not played a lot of rogues. Let's just say that. Or, like, Azamar rogues. True Seeing and Ghost Touch. Interesting. I'm surprised you don't have True Seeing in here, but I know why you don't have True Seeing. Don't fail will saves in a 1, don't fail fortitude saves in a 1, Dance of Flowers. So, I like pretty much everything here. Piercing Clarity is definitely an interesting choice. And I don't really see anything wrong with this. There's a couple things I would like to change about some of the sections of the tree. So number 1, Executioner, Strike, and Shot. This is Assassinate that you can use all the time. I really love this. And on top of that, this character, because you attack twice, so when you attack, and when you double strike, and your offhand attack, and when you offhand double strike, all proc Executioner Strike. So if your double strike, which I'm just going to double check right now, your double strike is 83%, and your offhand attack chance is 100%, then every time you press this, you have a, 2.83 attacks to get this 35% chance to proc, which is basically going to happen all the time. So you definitely want this. No Grim Precision. So Grim Precision is interesting. It depends on where your fortification bypass on the character is. As a rogue, your fortification, this guy, we've got 91 here. And you could get a little bit more, but it's important to note that you get multiple sources of fortification reduction on enemy monsters. Very specifically, you have access to Assassin's Trick, which reduces fortification by 25, and also any destruction effects are also very good. So I would like to make a couple adjustments here, because you really want to take Executioner Strike if possible. Additionally, +1 to all skills, I feel like is not as good as this. I'm going to reset this tree real quick. Oh. But the extra Assassinate DCs are really nice. So Dexterity, grab the Technician because it's +6 to all your skills. Lithe is also very good. The Meld into Darkness is very good. Grim Precision, again, it depends on what you actually need. I want to take a look at the gear set before I actually commit. Hard to commit to saying one of those things is being better or worse. Execution Strike, this, and this. Probably how I would do this. Because Consume is still very good for this build. I need to spend it, yeah. Yeah. Maybe. It depends. It depends on how much fortification bypass you really need. And also the fact that Dex brings it up to an even number, you would drop 2 points of Dexterity, take Grim Precision, and take Skill Mastery instead. But, let's take a quick look. Best class for Drow? I mean, I like Favored Soul because I think it's cool thematically. Alright. So this is a fun build. I like the Heart of Sulamade's set. I actually use this as well on mine. I very much like this. Heart of Sulamade's is cool because it gives you the quality Constitution, it gives you the Devil Scale Bracers, and then the set bonus, the Sneak Attack Dice, the Physical Magical Resistance Rating, the Immunity to Curses. It's just really convenient. And then you just want to use the Devil Scale Bracers anyway because it's a good item. Then you've got the Tumbleweed Ring for accuracy and deadly on this character, as well as insightful dexterity. You have Belt of the Ram. Belt of the Ram. And Shadow Sprinters. Shadow Sprinters is just straight up a bad item. This is a 4-piece summer, part of the family set on Fortitude. So you don't necessarily need Winter on this build. Character's like plenty tanky without it, so I wouldn't necessarily say you need to shove it in here. But Shadow Sprinters used to be good when you needed hide and move silently, but you don't need those skills anymore. So you have a lot of flexibility in terms of what you want to use for that last item slot. Also, the 4-piece set of Summer doesn't affect Assassinate DCs. So that isn't as relevant as you might otherwise think it is. But getting some of the other stats is kind of hard. Also, the Belt of the Ram, it looks like, is just for the Summer set and also the Constitution, maybe? And I feel like if you're going for Con 21 plus other stuff, there's better items to use than just double stacking up. The Ram's Might, as far as I know, the Ram's Might doesn't work. And then Cloak of Summer granting strength and insightful strength is fine, but you don't really need that either. Alright, later listen charts. I feel like we have like a bunch of stats. This just gives double strike. That's pretty much all it's doing. So if you want to replace this and get a better item than the Shadow Sprinters, you could just use the Spectre Boots, which gives you your double strike. It also grants you Ghostly, which is not too bad. And I believe you do have Seeker already. I just feel like this is just Con 21 for the most part, and it's just getting extra like summer items that I don't think you need. I think the Lionheart Ring is a great item in this build. Action boost, stunning, armor piercing, insightful constitution is perfectly good. I think that's definitely a great choice, an inspired choice, if you will. Cloak of Balance. So yeah, how do you get your dexterity? Insightful dex 10. And you have dex on here, and where's quality dex? Is this build quality dexless? It is quality dexless. So you could replace Cloak of Summer with Cloak of Balance, which would give you Insightful Seeker, which you already have, Parrying, which you might have, Freedom of Movement, and then Quality Dex, which will bring you up to 105. Oh, you didn't have Parrying either, so it gives you even more saves, which is nice. You already have Double Strike, so you don't even need that. So these boots don't even need to be Double Strike. It's just a quality bonus to all saves, which you already get from Collective Sight. So these boots literally don't even do anything for this character, which is interesting. So what would you use instead of these boots? You don't need Double Strike. You don't need anything. What's the artifact? Oh yeah, it's the trinket. Wind Riders. No. Thorn Boots? No. Sunken Slippers? No. Don't choose Spectre Boots. If it's Assassinate you want, it's the Nemesis Necklace. That's already in the build, the Family's Blessing here. That's already been taken care of. Tumbleweeds, like I said, it's okay, because it gives you accuracy and insightful dexterity, so there's not much you can ask for instead of that on a ring. But Red Dragon Scale for Summer, which gives you Seeker, you already have. Combat Mastery, you don't need. Protection, you don't need. And Fire Shield Hot. Oof, rip. Clockwork Boots, a bunch of stats you don't need. Devil Commander Boots, a bunch of stats you don't need. Flower Boots, a bunch of stats you don't need. Sea Legs, which aren't in the game. Are they in the game? Is this a real item? There's Slave Lord's item? No, there's no Slave Lords in here. Dexterity and Insightful Wisdom. Oh yeah, that makes sense. There's these Dexterity boots, the Shrouded Steps of Beyond, which are very interesting. Which would be cool in this build, but then you would have to lose the Heart of Sulamates, which doesn't really work with the set. I just want to get Dexterity on boots. Is there Dexterity? Is that an option? Dexterity. Shadow Footsteps is Dexterity 19. You would lose 2 points of Dexterity and Insightful Dodge. You already have the Shadow Sprinters. 21 dex, and insightful dex. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how you optimize this a little bit, because a lot of the boots are not good, and then even if you were to grab a Slave Lord's item, I don't even know what you would Slave Lords, because you have basically everything. You have quality Constitution. I guess in theory, you could Slave Lords craft something and then use a different cloak. Because yes, you could use the Dex and Insightful Dex on a Spring Cloak instead of the Cloak of Balance, and then you could Slave Lords out something, and then you could possibly replace the Wisdom on here. So you could do something like, this is going to be a couple adjustments all in one. So you replace the Cloak of Balance with the Cloak of Spring, which also gives parrying, so it's pretty good, and the Electric Absorption. Then you replace the Shadow Sprinters with a Legendary Shackle. And on the Shackle, you place... I don't even know if you have... what would you even want on this? You can do, like, Wisdom, and you don't need Resistance, because you have it. You don't need Deception, I don't think. Or Seeker. Armor Piercing, because you don't have Armor Piercing on this build. Any skill that you want, although it doesn't really matter. So you could grab like Tendon Slice if you wanted, or even Stunning, because you are in fact playing as a stunning character. And then lastly, you go Quality Dexterity here. And then it means you could replace the Tumbleweed Ring with... Actually, instead of using Stunning, you could just... Oh, man. Because I'm like... You just want accuracy. And the problem with accuracy is that it comes from the Celestial Ruby Ring and the Ring of Prowess, and basically nothing else. And the Celestial Ruby Ring solves some of your problems because it makes you ghostly and it gives you accuracy, which is cool. But and it already has stunning on it, and you don't need any of these stats. Because you have the Lionheart Ring for the Insightful Penetration, you have this one. Anyway, and then you don't need Dexterity on this. You can do this as Wisdom instead. You have even more Wisdom in the build. Would be useful in some cases. Yeah, it's not the worst. Because I was going to say, if you wanted as well, you could make this a little bit stronger. The problem is you would lose all of your Wisdom. Although this, in fairness, could be a swap. You could have this as a swap that you would put in. You could instead use the Tinkerer's Goggles, which would give you Insightful Deception and Quality Deception. And then when you need to heal, just weapon swap. Why not the Assassin Ring from KT? Because the Devil Scale Bracers already take up that slot. Because it's already got Assassinate, Insightful Assassinate, Improved Deception, and Deception. Get much time to switch when needing to heal others. Yeah, exactly. So you'd want that to be on all the time. What are you using for goggles? Currently Collective Sight with Wisdom and Insightful Wisdom. You can also fully replace the belt. The benefit of keeping the belt to the Rammies is you have the 3-piece summer, which gives you more fortification bypass. But we just changed some of your items, so the fortification bypass is now 119, which means you don't need the extra 10% from this. So you could change this to Constitution, and then you get an entirely free belt to do whatever you want with. You don't need the Direwolf. You could take the Belt of Sure Strikes for Magical Sheltering, Insightful Seeker, which I believe you already have Insightful Seeker, Quality Combat Mastery, and Quality Accuracy if you wanted more hit chance. Or you could just straight up use the Bronze Dragon Scale Belt if you wanted Insightful False Life 40. You could take Insightful Sheltering if you wanted the Dire Bear Belt. But probably the Belt of Sure Strikes. Now you really lost all the strength. It's basically out of the build entirely. But then the benefit of this is you have more accuracy and you have more combat mastery. And unfortunately the Insightful... Oh, and Insightful Seeker, which you didn't have, actually. So it gives you even more Insightful Seeker, so you have more crit chance. Or crit damage. And then the Tumbleweed. This ring slot is actually completely fully open. You can do whatever you want with this. Because you have literally all the other stats. You could Hardline, a keylock ring. You could grab a Curse Bane for the quality, magical sheltering, and vitality if you wanted, plus death block. Flickering Steel. And yeah, Ring of Prowess for extra damage. Pretty much everything else doesn't matter. Celestial Sapphire if you wanted the Profane all stats and dodge, actually. Do you get dodge anywhere else? Do you have dodge anywhere else? I don't think so. This one's actually not bad. It gives you the Profane all ski. Oh, you already have Profane because you have Litany in here? This is actually just dodge, which would be kind of sad. But the thing is, oh, you have a Sapphire of dodge, so you're already capped out. So yeah, then you would just Ring of Prowess it. Ring of Prowess, get the accuracy 28, get melee power. Call it a day. And you're at the cap for dodge. So a few minor adjustments to this character build. And we upped the wisdom a little bit. We've gotten more dexterity in this build, like 6 points of extra dexterity. Constitution's pretty similar. And yeah, and then now, so that should increase the tactical breakdown, so your assassinate should be a little higher. So your assassinate is plus 30. So yeah. You have 5 static items that you need. Put something like winter around it. What? I don't know what you mean. There's no winter items in here. Oh, and I didn't even check on your filigrees, but treachery is correct. Shatter device is great, and then 1 against many, sucker punch for all the extra damage. Yeah, if you can put, I guess you don't really need 2 of these, but yeah, melee power, and sucker punch dexterity for the extra sneak attack. I mean, it's not bad. Can't go wrong with sneak attack. And then pain and suffering. Pain and suffering are okay, although you definitely don't need to use pain and suffering. And you have wild fortitude. If you can fit wild fortitude in, you have 1, 2, 3 items you can fit in for sure. You have a lot. Oh yeah, exactly. You can just throw a wild fortitude. So give me a slot. Yeah, give me that wild fortitude. Wild fortitude. Hold on. Wild fortitude. Hey, prowess. You know what you want to be? Wild fortitude. There you go. Perfect. Now you have artifact constitution. Now you have even more hit points. 2304. It's actually back to where it was before, but that's fine. In fact, do you have enough space to use 1, 2 Titania's Glory and Cloak of Spring? Yes, you do. Wait, what's this? Wild Fortitude, Wild Fortitude, Wild Fortitude. So if I change this Ruby to Roll Cut, no, Cunning Impact, Cunning Impact, this one to Cunning Impact, and 1, 2. Wait, oh, and this one to Cunning Impact, you get an extra 4 artifact dexterity as well, which is horrific. What gives Cunning Impact? I actually don't know. Cunning Impact. Strange Tidings? Oh no. Defiler of the Just. Ah, oh, jeez. It's not hard to do, but you just have to go do it. Whoa. Anyway. That seems not too bad. Not too shabby. Look at that reflex save. 131, no fail. Fortitude, will. These things all seem pretty damn good. So yeah, so hopefully that helped out a little bit. If it didn't, I am so sorry. That is literally the best I can do.